when I turn up, you know I'm on my, yes, I'm on my, yes, I'm on my.
What's good, YouTube? Welcome back to this video. If you enjoyed the last video where I talked about my favorite books, please leave me a comment and tell me which books you like, whether it's on that video. I'll link it up here, and if you just want to put it in the comments here, just tell me that's fine. As well, leave a comment based on every video that I put out there, guys, because I'm putting this out for you. So let's get right into it. This one, I want to talk about the importance of branding. And whether you're a personal brand like myself or a company brand like I have, and company brands and personal brands that we work with, there's two different ways to look at branding. Some people kind of look at branding in a way where they need to get their logo right and their website right and everything else, and I get it, and that makes a lot of sense to a certain degree. But here's my thought behind branding. I'm going to kind of tell you this from my experience of how I built myself to where I am in the marketing world today, in the sales world. So when I got started in the marketing world, however many years ago it's been now, I literally, all I did was I think I had a friend of mine create a logo, which was, if I can insert it somewhere in here, I will, and literally that's literally what I did. And I took that, created a website that was like a one-page ClickFunnels lander, which would be ClickFunnels lander today. Did it on like WordPress or one of those themes back in the day, and that is it. Like, that is all I had for branding. Because one thing that I realized when it comes to branding is what you want to do is you want to get yourself out there first, get some results, and then create a brand around your results. If any of you that have been through my agency mentorship course, I talk about this a lot, is where I mentioned go get the client the result, then build your personal brand or build your business brand around that result. Because based on what niche you get into, you can take your brand and go down that route. Okay, that's kind of the way I built it. It works really, really well. It works for a lot of students that we work with, and it's proven to work over and over and over again. Now, when it comes to personal brand, once you've got to that point, once you've built your foundation on what you want to do, how do you differentiate which way to go? So for the longest time, I built my company around my personal brand, and then moved it over completely, did a 180 and moved into a business brand so I could pull it away from myself, and I'll explain why. When you build a personal brand initially, people are going to do business with you. They're going to do business one-to-one, and they're going to want to work with you because you're the one that got the results. Then eventually you get to a point where you've built a team and you've sustained the business, and you want to grow the business, and maybe you have the goal of exiting the business, and you want to move it over into a business, into a company brand. And you can always have a company brand the entire time you have this business brand. I just didn't do it that way. And what if I were to go back and do it? I probably would, but honestly didn't really make that big of a difference, and it kind of helped my personal brand to what I'm doing today. So what I ended up doing is, now if you guys follow me and you look at my YouTube banner somewhere, and you look at my Facebook banners and everything else, is very symmetrical. It looks all the same. I keep to one color style. A lot of times we do a lot of branding work with real estate agents and personal, like in terms of like coaches and everything else. And I usually say pick a color style that suits you, suits your style. Figure out, on the color wheel, a lot of the times, you got to figure out what color can actually suit you. Some people just choose colors because they like colors. A lot of times people will choose a red, but then they don't understand that red can also come across being a little aggressive. That's pretty much what the colors wheel of branding is. You can literally just Google, I think you can Google like the color branding wheel, and it kind of breaks it all down and literally tells you what to do. That being said, on a personal brand, make sure the way you portray yourself on a daily basis is how you portray your brand. And if you aren't portraying it that way, you're really not helping yourself, because what you end up doing is you're going to try and be this one type of persona online and try and be somebody else offline. And if anybody online meets you offline and it doesn't attach together and you're not the same person, when they meet you offline, they're going to kind of second guess anything else you do online. Okay, so that's usually a lot of the times. That's why if you guys follow me on Instagram, if you haven't, go ahead and click the link below after and follow me on Instagram. And if you haven't already followed me on Instagram, you'll see my lifestyle on Instagram is literally the exact same as I am. So if you ever see me online and you see me offline, I have and do the exact same things as I show online as I do offline. I literally live my life to the way my brand is. Do I like to be like, sometimes you'll see me in t-shirts. I like to kind of just hang out, be chill. A lot of times I'll just be hanging out, I'll be dressed up in blazers, and sometimes I'll just kind of be casual. Like, that's kind of just who I am. I'm a big mix of something. I don't like to like just be portrayed as always wearing suits or always just wearing t-shirts. I like to be literally a mix, and that is how I've built my brand. And so that way I can reach a broader audience, because that's who I am. I can adapt to a lot more people. I've been through a lot, and that's the kind of way I've built my personal brand. Now let's transition into a business brand and the way we did our business brand. So the business brand, a lot of the times when we work with real estate agents, so a lot of times we've done real estate branding and it's very, very similar, aggressive ones in terms of where they want to go out and become the next big real estate agent. And then we've also done personal brandings for like people that just want to have fun and kind of do it passively and everything else. And now we're in the midst of now we're going to start talking about business branding. So with our business brand, what we've done is we've gone down, if you look at our logo, I'll try and plug it in here, and if not, you guys can click the link somewhere below because you'll find it anyways. And we went with a more fun and like open color, more of a growth type color, because green is growth. That's what it kind of represents. There's many different meanings to a lot of them. You just got to kind of figure out what you're trying to go and then build your logos and build your brand and your colors and everything else around that. And it's also very open color. So that's kind of where we went with GrowRev as a company. We literally went down that route. And what we do with company brands across the internet. So let's say, for example, let's just stick to the branding of real estate because that's what we've been talking about for the longest time. So what we'll do is we'll sit down with people. A lot of the times we'll ask them, do you want to be the personal brand of the company, or do you want a brand to be like a company brand to be the company? And they'll be like, okay, well, I don't want to be the one. I don't mind being the one in front of the camera, but I don't want it to be associated to my name. Okay, let's figure out what we want to call it. We call it X name. Then we go down the process of, okay, what type of a person do you want to attract? What type of a person do you want to work with? Well, how do you want to be portrayed? And then we kind of go down that exact same route. A lot of branding is very, very, very similar. You just got to understand which angle you want to go. And once you figure that out, it's literally a very simple cookie cutter piece on how to put them all together and make sense. You can get very, very granular in terms of branding. You know, getting to a point where your headlines on your website make sense to what they're going to say, to your sub-headlines, to how your call to action is, to what your elevator pitch is. There is so much that can go into a very deep, deep foundation of building out a brand. However, I just kind of want to get to a point where understanding is, you know, as long as you have your base foundation right, you can keep building on that. You can keep building the tower of your brand stronger going top, and then keep building the foundation going deeper. Because as long as you do that, as long as your base is correct, you know what you're talking about, you know how you want to represent yourself, the rest of it just got to come in place. The number one thing that I got to tell people, literally the number one thing, is when starting out, do not make this your number one priority. Your number one priority should be going out, getting sales, helping people, getting the result that you desire to help them get, and make that happen. Because if you make that happen, your brand will just literally create itself a lot of the times. And that's what a lot of times that we do is like we'll take myself in certain businesses that we go into, we'll just kind of go out there, help get the result that we want, and then that we'll just kind of interview people and figure out what the brand is, because that in itself people already have a portraying. And if you can interview people, that in itself will make your branding easy. So do not focus on that right off the bat. Keep it simple right at the beginning and then work your way through it. If you guys have any questions, put them in the comments below. I love to look forward to answering your questions. If you like this video and you got a lot of insight or, you know, a lot of help for your branding, please give it a thumbs up, and as well hit the subscribe button, because if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, guys. Literally, I'm doing this for you guys every single day. This is free content. A lot of times this content that I'm also giving you is in some of my courses from time to time, or inside of my Facebook groups and things like that where people are paying. So I hope you guys are enjoying this, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.